Rows of sleek limousines and luxury cars lined the front entrance of a towering corporate headquarters on one of the busiest streets in New York City. Powerful executives stepped out one after another, dressed in tailored Italian suits, polished leather shoes, and expensive silk ties that reflected their status and wealth. The atmosphere screamed power, prestige, and influence. Amid all that luxury and attention, a young man quietly walked toward the building's grand entrance. An old backpack hung over his shoulder, and faint wrinkles could be seen on his simple jacket. His steps were calm and unhurried. No one paid attention to him. To everyone around, he looked like nothing more than an ordinary janitor reporting for work. But Ethan was far from ordinary. Hidden behind that humble appearance was the true heir to the multinational corporation, the future CEO himself. Ethan had recently returned after graduating from Harvard University and completing a prestigious internship at a leading tech institution in Silicon Valley. He possessed intelligence, vision, and power far beyond what anyone in that building could imagine. Yet instead of arriving in luxury, Ethan chose to hide his identity. Before taking control of the company his family had built, he wanted to discover the true nature of the people working inside it. He wanted to know who was genuinely kind, who was loyal only to power, and who had lost their humanity behind titles and arrogance. So, he disguised himself as a janitor. With a mop in his hand, and silence in his heart, Ethan stepped into the company lobby. The moment he entered, the sharp sound of high heels echoed across the marble floor. A woman approached him confidently, her expression cold and commanding. Her name was Victoria, the company's operations director. She was feared throughout the office for her harsh attitude, ruthless discipline, and habit of humiliating subordinates in public. The second her eyes landed on Ethan, her face tightened with disgust. She scanned him from head to toe before speaking in a cutting tone. "Why are you just standing there? Clean this place immediately. This lobby isn't for people like you to wander around." Ethan lowered his head quietly. For a brief moment, a painful sting pierced his chest, but he kept his composure. Without saying a word, he picked up the mop and moved toward a corner of the lobby. Accepting such humiliation was not easy for him, but Ethan reminded himself why he had come. This was not a game. This was a test. A test that would determine the future of the company, and reveal the true faces hiding behind expensive suits and polished smiles. As Victoria walked away, she turned back with another insult. "And don't be lazy like the old janitors around here," she mocked. "If you slow down, you won't survive long." Several executives nearby chuckled under their breath. Some smirked openly, while others hid their laughter behind iPads and coffee cups. Not a single person defended him. No one realized that the quiet janitor standing before them would soon decide every one of their futures. Ethan slowly dragged the mop across the floor, leaving a faint scratch against the polished marble. Deep inside, he made a silent promise. He would observe everything. He would endure every insult. And when the time was right, he would expose the truth. Later that afternoon, the company cafeteria buzzed with noise and conversation. Employees laughed loudly while sipping coffee from Starbucks cups and discussing luxury vacations, bonuses, and office gossip. In one quiet corner, Ethan wiped down tables silently. Though his eyes remained lowered, his ears missed nothing. Suddenly, a woman burst into laughter and pointed directly at him. "Look at the new janitor," she sneered. "He looks like some lost Texas hillbilly visiting the city for the first time." Another employee joined in immediately. "I bet he doesn't even know how to use the elevator." A third man laughed louder than the others. "Let's just hope he doesn't sit at our table tomorrow trying to eat burgers with us." The cafeteria erupted with cruel laughter. Arrogance filled the air like poison, but Ethan never reacted. Instead, a faint smile appeared on his lips. He was memorizing every face, every laugh, every insult. Because moments like these revealed a person's true character, more than titles or resumes ever could. One by one, the employees finished eating and eventually left the cafeteria, still laughing among themselves. Ethan remained behind, quietly cleaning the empty tables. A storm of anger burned deep inside him, but he forced himself to remain calm. If he allowed emotions to control him, his entire mission would fail. Patience was his greatest weapon now. As evening approached, the golden light of sunset reflected against the glass walls of the skyscraper. Outside the building, a shining black Cadillac pulled up near the entrance. From a distance, Ethan watched Victoria confidently walking toward the vehicle while speaking on her phone. Her expensive heels clicked against the pavement as a security guard quickly opened the car door for her. She smiled arrogantly while continuing her conversation. "Yes, honey," she said proudly. "Make reservations at a 5-star restaurant in Manhattan tonight. I refuse to eat in some cheap diner." Ethan watched quietly for a moment before lowering his eyes. Only one thought crossed his mind. Arrogance never lasts forever. Power and position may protect someone for a while, but eventually, truth always finds its way into the light. Ethan slowly walked away from the office building. The cold evening breeze of New York City brushed against his exhausted body. But his eyes still carried the fire of determination. This was only the beginning. A long game had started, and soon every lie, every act of cruelty, and every injustice hidden within that company would finally be exposed. The following morning, the office floor was still damp from cleaning when Victoria's sharp voice suddenly echoed through the hallway. "Did you clean this properly?" she snapped angrily. "The floor is still wet. What if someone slips? Do you have any common sense at all?" Ethan quietly lowered his head and began mopping again. Nearby employees exchanged uncomfortable glances. Some may have felt sympathy, but none dared to speak. Everyone knew confronting Victoria could destroy a career overnight. So they remained silent. And, that silence became another form of cruelty. During those difficult days, Ethan slowly formed a friendship with an elderly janitor named Mr. Henderson. Henderson had worked at the company for many years. He was quiet, humble, and hardworking, the type of man who never complained no matter how badly people treated him. Employees mocked him constantly. Some called him old man. Others laughed at his worn-out jacket and outdated shoes, but Henderson never responded with anger. One afternoon while they worked together, Ethan finally asked him, "Mr. Henderson, after all these years, when people insult you like this, doesn't it hurt?" The old man smiled gently before replying, "Respect comes from God, son. The people laughing today will forget tomorrow. But if we work honestly, we can sleep peacefully at night." Those words struck Ethan deeply. At that moment, he realized something important. The weakest-looking person in the building was actually one of the strongest. During lunch breaks, Henderson often shared his food with Ethan. One day, he handed him half of his sandwich and said warmly, "Here, son, you eat. I'm old. I can manage. You're young. You need the strength more than I do." Tears nearly filled Ethan's eyes. He looked at the old man and thought silently, if anyone in this company deserves justice first, it's him. From that moment on, Ethan promised himself that when the truth finally came out, he would restore dignity not only to Henderson, but to every hardworking employee who had suffered in silence for years. As the days passed, Ethan observed everything happening throughout the office. Then one afternoon, chaos suddenly exploded inside the company. News spread that cash had disappeared from the finance department's locker. Employees rushed out of their offices whispering nervously. "Maybe the audit team made a mistake," someone said. "No," another replied. "This had to be an inside job." Before the rumors could settle, Victoria stormed onto the floor holding several papers in her hand, her face burning with anger. Without hesitation, she shouted loudly, "I know who stole the money!" The office fell silent. Victoria pointed directly toward Henderson. It was him. Mr. Henderson had just entered carrying a large water gallon. Shock immediately filled his face. Ma'am," he stuttered nervously, "I didn't steal anything. I only came to replace the water. I never touched the cash box." But Victoria refused to listen. "Enough excuses," she yelled. "People like you ruined this company's reputation. You should have been fired long ago." The employees nearby lowered their heads. Not one person defended him. Fear controlled the room. HR was immediately informed, and Henderson received an official warning before everyone. The old man's face turned pale with humiliation. Without another word, he quietly walked away. Ethan watched everything from a distance, his heart breaking inside. He knew Henderson was innocent, but once again, the entire office chose silence over truth. That night, after the building emptied, Ethan quietly entered the security control room. He sat in front of the CCTV monitors and carefully reviewed the recordings. Moments later, the footage revealed the truth clearly. Henderson had entered the room, placed the water gallon down, and immediately left. He never touched the cash box. Ethan exhaled deeply with relief, but rage quickly replaced it. This injustice had gone too far. Without hesitation, he copied the footage onto a flash drive. As he stared at the screen, he whispered to himself, "The time has come. This system is about to change." That night became a turning point. Ethan decided he would no longer remain a silent observer. The next morning, a strange tension filled the office atmosphere. Everyone sensed something important was about to happen. Then suddenly, a luxurious black Rolls-Royce Phantom arrived at the company entrance. Employees froze in shock as a sharply dressed young man stepped out of the car wearing an elegant Armani suit and dark Ray-Ban sunglasses. There was power in his posture, confidence in his walk, and determination in his eyes. The employees stared in disbelief, because the man stepping out of the Rolls-Royce was Ethan. But this time, he was no longer disguised. This time he stood before them as his true self. One by one, the executives entered the conference room nervously. Victoria approached Ethan with a large professional smile, still unaware of the truth. Believing he was an important investor or government guest, she extended her hand confidently. "Welcome, sir," she said politely. "My name is Victoria. I'm the director of operations." Ethan looked directly into her eyes and gave a calm smile. "Thank you, Victoria," he replied softly. "But there's no need to introduce yourself." His expression darkened slightly. "I already know everything." Victoria's smile instantly faded. A strange fear crept into her heart. Moments later, Ethan signaled to his assistant, "Begin the meeting." The lights dimmed. A giant projector screen flickered to life. Then the CCTV footage began playing before the entire boardroom. The room watched in complete shock as the video revealed Henderson's innocence and exposed Victoria's false accusations. The footage clearly showed Henderson placing the water gallon down and leaving without touching the cash locker. As the video ended, absolute silence filled the conference room. Ethan slowly stood up and addressed everyone in a calm but powerful voice. "For the past several weeks, I have walked among you disguised as an ordinary janitor." He paused. "I did not come here to test your business skills. I came to test your humanity." No one moved. No one spoke. Ethan continued, "I wanted to see who respected people regardless of status, and who worshiped power and arrogance instead." His eyes swept across the room. "I witnessed cruelty. I witnessed humiliation. And worst of all, I witnessed innocent people suffering while others remained silent." Victoria's face had turned completely pale. Her hands trembled. She could no longer even lift her eyes toward Ethan. Then Ethan turned toward the entrance and said, "Please bring Mr. Henderson inside." The elderly janitor slowly entered the conference room wearing his old uniform, confusion and fear visible on his face. Ethan walked directly toward him with respect. Then, in front of the entire company, he smiled warmly and said, "Mr. Henderson, from today onward, you are the new logistics coordinator of this company." The room froze. Ethan continued proudly, "This promotion is not based on titles or appearance. It is based on honesty, loyalty, and character. You are one of the few truly honorable people in this building." Tears filled Henderson's eyes immediately. Unable to hold his emotions back any longer, the old man began crying quietly. For the first time in years, someone had finally recognized his worth. Ethan then faced the employees once again. This company will never again be a place where arrogance is rewarded and humanity is ignored. As a result of the investigation, Victoria was officially terminated from her position. But Ethan did something unexpected afterward. He called Victoria into his office privately. Looking at her calmly, he said, "Your career doesn't have to end here. People can change." Victoria remained silent, tears forming in her eyes. Ethan handed her a small card. "We run a leadership development program," he explained. "If you truly want to become a better person, you can start again there." He looked at her seriously. "Arrogance may bring temporary power, but eventually, it destroys everything." Victoria finally understood the damage she had caused. With tears rolling down her cheeks, she lowered her head and quietly thanked him before leaving the office. From that day forward, the company changed completely. Employees no longer judged one another by clothes, salaries, or titles. People worked together with respect. The atmosphere of fear slowly disappeared and was replaced by unity and humanity, because they had finally learned an important lesson. A person's true value is not measured by money, position, or appearance. True greatness is measured by honesty, kindness, and character. Never underestimate anyone, because behind simple clothes may hide extraordinary strength, wisdom, or even greatness itself. So tell us, who was your favorite character in this story, and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this emotional story, don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring videos.